Hey, welcome back to Cool Classics. Today we're going to take a look at the life and career of Felix Silla. I discovered Felix while I was doing my deep dive into the original Addams Family TV series. I made a video on Carolyn Jones and Ted Cassidy, and his name kept popping up. I took a look around and I got some freaky facts, some cool clips, and he deserves a nice biography. Here we go. He was born January 11th, 1937 in Abruzzo, Italy. It was obvious very early on that he was suffering from dwarfism and was not going to grow as tall as everyone else. His parents were worried that he was going to have a difficult life, so although they showered him with love, they made sure that he learned to do everything on his own and was fully independent. He says that he stopped growing at around age 16, with his maximum height reaching 3 foot 11 inches tall. Knowing that the job opportunities for someone his height was very limited, especially in the area he was from, he decided to join the circus. They had him performing as a clown and a tumbler. He says that he really enjoyed this. Looking out at the crowd, seeing everyone smiling and cheering for him, he felt like a star on the stage. So it's no wonder that in 1955, when Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus came through town, they offered him a job and he accepted. So at the age of 18, he left for the United States to go on tour with them. Over the next few years, they toured all around the United States constantly, and this is when he started to learn how to be a bareback horse rider. He also learned how to be a trapeze artist. Now, after about 7 years of constantly traveling around the country, he was really getting burnt out on the road life. So he went to the head office and he asked them if there was any other way he could work for the company so that he could stay located in California. And they said, yes, we can put you to work in the marketing department. This is where he first met this man from MGM who would come in there and schedule like a fire breather or a juggler to appear in a TV show or movie, and him and Felix would always talk. Well, one day when this guy was in there, he turned to Felix and said, "Hey Felix, they're auditioning for little people for this TV show. You should really go down and give it a tryout." And Felix said, "Well, I'm not really an actor." And he goes, "I don't think you need to be. They're looking for 5 or 6 little people, so you got a good shot here, man." And the guy gave him the information. Well, the guy leaves, and later on in the day, a coworker asks Felix if he's going to go do the audition. And Felix says, "Well, it's too far to transfer all the buses, and I don't have a car that I can drive." So the guy says, "I'll give you a ride." So Felix heads on down there and auditions for this TV show, and he gets the part, along with a few other little people, and they're all hanging out in an area chit-chatting when a different producer walks in and he asks everyone what their heights are. And when Felix says 3 foot 11 inches tall, the guy says, "You are the exact height of this child actor that I have in this movie. I need someone to double him and do a few stunts. Would you be interested?" And Felix said, "Yes." Next thing you know, Felix is going to be on TV and in a movie. Now the movie is called A Ticklish Affair. And who else is in that? Carolyn Jones, who goes on to play Morticia Addams in the Addams Family. Now Felix doubles for like the stunts and things for one of the kids. And in one scene, the kid gets lifted up by a bunch of balloons and goes floating through the air. And so that's really Felix, and they have him being lifted up on a crane. He said they had to do it like 15, 20 times. It took like 8 hours to film that. And when they yelled cut one time, they were getting ready to redo it one more take. But it was time for lunch break, and everybody just started heading off to lunch, and they forgot him up there. But one like grip that was down on the ground heard him yelling, and he goes, "Oh my gosh," and he lowered him down, or they would have left him up the whole time for lunch. And the TV show that he was on was Bonanza, episode Hoss and the Leprechauns. Felix plays the one who doesn't wear a hat. Instead, he has a green hood with 2 horns on it, and his name is Sean.
Go.
Dinner
giant ran down and chased the bear away.
A giant?
Biggest man I ever saw in my life. Oh, you don't believe me. Sean, you find a good tall tree and keep a lookout. Artie, you help me tie him up.
Hey, Joe, you see him, don't you? You see him, don't you, Joe? Yeah. Wait till Adam sees him. I can't wait to see him smashing on his face. We got him! We got him!
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, how we gonna get him down? Hey, I'll shake the tree.
Hey, no, don't do that. You're gonna kill him.
You savvy English?
Woo-hoo-wee.
I don't reckon he does. I don't understand none of that leprechaun neither. How we gonna get him down?
No. Hey, now keep an eye on him. Don't let him out of your sight. Hey, the cute one.
Yeah, ain't they cute? Look at him. I told you, didn't I? I told you.
Isn't that pretty cool? Right off the bat, he gets to hang out with people like Dan Blocker, Michael Landon, and Lorne Greene. Now later on, him and Lorne Greene appear in something else together. But next he appeared in Petticoat Junction, episode There's No Business with Show Business. In this one, the tingling Farnham and Haley circus comes to town.
Some talk misunderstanding.
Just a second, Doc. Now that the patients have been put in their room, would you mind answering a question for Nurse Bradley? What sanitarium did you meet him in?
Yeah, Max. Now remember, you're John L. Tingley.
John L. Tingling.
When'll Mr. Farnham and Mr. Haley be here?
Well, they ought to be here just about the time I hang up this coat.
Well, here you are, Mr. Farnham. Room 2.
Well, thank you.
Beat it, you mutt.
Now around this time, Felix said he started to get a lot of extra work as a stand-in for child actors because there was a lot of them on a variety of TV shows. And so what he would do is show up on one set on like a Monday or Tuesday and another set on a Wednesday so that he could stand in the place of the child actor who couldn't be on the set due to child labor laws. But the adult actors needed someone to interact with so they could look down at that right height, and the camera crews had to get their angles and heights adjusted along with the microphones and everything. This meant that he had to read the script and actually speak the lines to the rest of the cast, and one of these shows was The Addams Family. Now, the show's producer, David Levy, was always trying to keep things fresh, so he created a new character. He envisioned something really hairy and very short, and he looked at Felix and said, "You are the perfect fit to play Cousin Itt."
We think you're perfect husband material.
Oh, suave, sophisticated, cultured. Good. We have the perfect mate for you. My darling sister Ophelia.
You know, I always liked watching him go up and down the chimney back to his room in the attic, and I love the episodes where they would all have to squeeze into his room with the little bed and chair, and the ceiling was so low, Lurch was all stooped down. It made you as a kid wish that you had a little Cousin Itt living in your attic. So his first appearance was Season 1, Episode 20, Cousin Itt Visits the Addams Family. And you'll notice that his hair color and style was different in these first couple episodes. That's because they were using real hair. Now they quickly realized that Gomez Addams is always walking around with a lit cigar, smoking it, or having a lit cigar in his coat pocket. So if an ember fell on the ground and the hair drapes all the way to the floor, it could easily just go poof, and catch it all on fire and be a tragedy. So they switched to synthetic hair, which made it look a little bit different. And Felix said it also made it lighter and it wasn't as hot, but the main goal there was to make sure it was safe. The next thing they had to do was perfect Cousin Itt's voice. Now, David Levy at first envisioned Cousin Itt speaking in musical notes, but they tried a few different ways and it just didn't sound right. Then they tried something else and it sounded too much like an alien. So then the sound engineer, Tony Magro, said, "Well, how about if he speaks really fast like this and goes blah, 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 blah." And they go, "Wait, let's try that." So Tony spent a lot of time developing the voice here. He didn't just speak a sentence into the microphone and then speed up the tape. If you slow it down, it's not a real sentence. What he's doing is he found words that just sounded cool when they were sped up in other little like sounds and phrases. And it's not backwards or anything weird like that either. It's just random things that sound cool. Over the years, the rumor was that it was really Carolyn Jones who played Morticia that was doing the voice of Cousin Itt, but this was probably due to the fact that in a few episodes, she speaks to Cousin Itt herself. Man, I love his voice. And you know, Felix did a really good job like bringing the character some mannerisms, the way he would like shuffle side to side and dance a little, jump and get mad and take off.
Ah, dear It. It's his favorite music. Excellent idea. I'll scare him. No, Cousin Itt. I think this calls for a bit more subtlety.
Mother, look, there's hair on the chair, too.
Cousin Itt, you're losing your hair.
He's right. Without his hair, what is he?
Nothing.
Absolutely not.
Felix went on to appear 19 different times as Cousin Itt, which seems like a low number to me. It kind of had a bigger impact than just 19 episodes, but that's what it was. And now, during the same time period of being on the show, Felix got married. Now, his wife's name is Sue. I can't really find her last name, but I do know that she also had been a performer in the same circus that he was in. A few years later, in 1970, she appears herself in a movie, and she's credited as Sue Silla. And the movie's called Wilbur and the Baby Factory. Now, this is a freaky scene. This guy is either going to go to prison unless he agrees to father 2,000 children with 2,000 different women because he has superior genetics. Like I said, it's a freaky scene. But yes, she's in this movie. Now, the next place that he appears is in the original pilot episode for Star Trek. This is the one that was rejected by NBC. It's called The Cage, and he plays a Talosian creature. After that, he appears on the Monkeys TV show playing a clown in the episode Monkeys at the Circus.
Oh, I was...
I want to give you this to remember, Spy. Thank you, Dave.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you thank me some more now?
Hi, Minnie. Peter, after seeing you handle this with great ease, I want you to have it to remember a spot.
Oh, thank you.
The next thing that he was in was a movie called She Freak, which was based around a carnival. Now, in this movie, Claire Brennan was the lead actress, and her and Felix got really close together. Actually, they had an affair, and she got pregnant, and she had a baby boy, and they kept it secret for a couple of years. But eventually, Felix had to come clean to his wife. He told her everything, begged for her forgiveness, and said, "I need to be part of this child's life. It's not fair to him." And she accepted his apology, she stayed with him, and they went on to have 3 children of their own and stayed together forever. Now, throughout the rest of the 60s and all of the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, Felix continued to stunt double for children in movies. He did a lot of these. I'd show you the clips, but they're not that exciting. It's a child from behind falling down, so you don't really see his face. But what is cool is that he was on a lot of TV shows and in a lot of movies where you did see his character. Tell me if you've ever noticed any of these parts. They're all Felix, and some of them are pretty iconic. In 1968, he appeared in the movie Planet of the Apes. Now, this is a classic movie here, and his role was the child gorilla. There was no way to tell it was him, but everybody remembers the child gorilla. I sure did as a kid. Now next he went into the TV series Bewitched. He appeared there twice. A Safe and Sane Halloween and the episode Samantha and the Troll.
Remember, just ordinary trick-or-treating, no,
Darren, I am shocked. On Halloween? This is amateur night. Come on. My goodness. Well, who are you?
My friend.
If I didn't know you were a goblin, I would say you were little Billy Watkins. Come along, kids. Thank you, Mrs. Robinson. Tabitha, no, you mustn't do that.
They did it.
Now, none of that, Missy. If you don't behave yourself, I'm going to have to take you home.
I thought I told you kids to beat it. What the? How did you do that?
All right now, you spooks. You behave yourself.
And how much would you charge to haunt a house? Sam, what's going on? What are those things?
Well, Sam, it would take forever to explain.
Now the next show that he was on that a lot of you will recognize was H.R. Pufnstuf. That's right, he played the polka dot horse. So anytime the horse was on screen, Felix was in the costume. Then in 1975, Felix got what he was hoping would be his big break. He got a significant role in the movie The Black Bird, which was a comedy play on the Maltese Falcon. And this movie had some big stars. George Segal was in there, and so was Vic Tayback, who went on to play Mel from Mel's Diner in the TV show Alice. Everyone felt that the movie was really good, and Felix had a lot of screen time, so they were expecting big things. But the movie studio that produced it fell on financial troubles, and they sold the rights to the movie to a company that ran XXX films around the country. So when they sent it out to their network of theaters that would play it, it only went to XXX theaters. And unfortunately for them, patrons of those theaters didn't go to see comedies or serious movies. They went to see the other stuff.
Oh, really? What could that be?
The Blackbird.
How'd it get to be yours all of a sudden?
It is mine because I deserve it. Mine because I have killed for it. Mine because I've spent 30 years in pursuit of it. It is mine because I have the means, the determination, and most of all, the power to have it.
Throughout the 70s, he appeared in some really freaky movies. Like this one above is called Demon Seed. He plays the baby who's born out of artificial intelligence. It's creepy. And of course, he plays in the reboot, the Addams Family Halloween special. He reprises the role of Cousin Itt, so that's pretty cool. Then in 1978, he was hired by Battlestar Galactica to be the stand-in and occasional stunt double for actor Noah Hathaway, the kid who played the character Boxy. This continued on for the remainder of the series, and eventually they added another character to the show called Lucifer. Now it was like a robot android type of thing, and Felix played the torso, so he didn't have to move the arms or make it walk like a human or creature. He just had to sort of pivot it side to side, give it some sort of movement and a little bit of life. Now also being on the show reunited him with Lorne Greene, who was playing Commander Adama, but was also in the very first thing he was in, the Bonanza episode where he played the Leprechaun. Alright, it's time for another cool classics tangent. So while I'm searching through all this Battlestar Galactica footage, I think to myself, wait a second, who played the Daggett? Now Daggetts are like their canines, they're dogs, but they're sort of robotic. and I look at the pictures and I go, now Boxy had one and it was called Muffet, and it's really small. I don't think Felix could have played that part, and it can't really be a robot, could it? So I dug deep and I find out it was played by Evie the Chimp. Yeah, can you believe that? They dressed a chimpanzee up to play that part. And here's some freaky footage I found. Check this out.
Color your way, Tony.
Eve.
Eve. Here. Evie. Hold it. Chin up. Here. Evie. Okay. Evie, here.
I'll tell you what, I really love discovering all of these things that I had no clue about, because now when I rewatch these shows, it makes them more fresh. I have other things to look for that I never did before. And here's another perfect example. He was on the TV series Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. Now, he plays Twiki, and I remember Twiki. I remember the little sound he would make before he started to talk. That beady, 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 beady. Yeah, that was me. That wasn't Twiki.
Beady, 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 beady. What about Buck? Beady, 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 beady. Beady, 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 beady. Someone isn't gonna like that.
Man, that's great. I haven't seen that show in so long. It's almost like Twiki was a fever dream from my childhood or something. Now, he went on to play in all 30 episodes. He did have to miss one time. And who stepped in for him? Patty Malloy, who played Tina, the gold robot on the show. Yeah, she also had a pretty prolific career in Hollywood herself.
Booty, booty. Something from the bar, sir?
Hold the phone.
Nothing for me, thanks.
Booty, booty.
Well, if you're going to be in Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers, there's only one thing left to be in: Star Wars. Well, he was in Return of the Jedi. He says that he plays 3 different Ewoks, and all 3 had stunts to perform. The easiest one to spot is the one on the hand glider throwing the stones down. The next easiest is the one that gets blown up and dies. He says, boy, oh boy, was this a good time. They flew all of us little people over to England to get fitted for our suits. Then they brought us all back, and we lived in this big hotel down from a mountain. And every morning the shuttle buses would take us up, and we would film in our little Ewok village area. And it lasted for 3 weeks of filming. And in the evening, we'd come back down, and the restaurants in the town were just for us. And it was all you could eat and hang out and then go back to your room and repeat. And he said, man, on lunch break up on the mountain, we're hanging out. And it was the first time he's been around that many little people and all in the industry. He said it was amazing. He made so many friends. And he said, I was a celebrity myself. They were like, oh my gosh, you were Cousin Itt. And they were all having dreams of being someone like him. Felix, on the other hand, was excited to meet Kenneth Baker, who played R2-D2. And Peter Mayhew, that played Chewbacca, became good friends with Felix, and the two of them did conventions together for years. Now, when Felix appeared in the movie Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, he was stunt doubling for the character Short Round. And there was a scene where they're in the Whitewater Rapids in a raft. And of course, you can't have the child in the raft, so the stunt double steps in. But Felix says, hold on, I can't swim, not even one bit. They say, well, we're going to put an inflatable life vest under your outfit, stick this cord through, and if anything happens, you just pull this cord, you'll be fine. And he goes, okay. And they're going along, and the raft flips over. Felix sinks straight to the bottom. He touches the bottom and pushes up and starts to come back up, but now he's underneath the raft. It's hitting him on his head. All he sees is yellow everywhere. He's looking for this cord, and he's panicking, and he can't find it. And right as he starts to find it to pull, he starts to take in water, and it makes him not be able to pull it right. And right then, they have a diver in the water, and he finds Felix and pulls him out. And Felix is having to be like resuscitated. He said it was traumatic. It gave him PTSD for 6 months. He had nightmares every night that he was drowning. He said that Steven Spielberg freaked out and spent so much time with him. He said it wasn't that he was scared that I was going to sue him. He said that Steven is a great man. He takes care of everyone. He wants you to be happy and healthy and enjoy making these movies. And for something like this to happen, he was very concerned for my mental health and my well-being. He said, great person. Now, throughout the 80s and 90s, Felix continued to stand in and do stunt doubling for children in movies, but he was also on television a lot, all the shows of the time. This one right here is Mork and Mindy. It's called the honeymoon episode, so they go to the planet Ork, and there's Felix in the background. He's like a porter who greets them.
Orson carries a lot of weight around here. Couldn't we get him to lean on the snippy little guy?
Besides, I have a lot of clout around here. I used to be the dinner diver in the lobster tank.
And here I found a clip of him on the Dukes of Hazzard, episode Strange Visitor to Hazzard. Again, he's playing an alien.
What in the name of all that's holy in heaven and earth is that?
That looks like a mini monster.
A sicking flash. Where'd you go? That sucker. He's in the car.
Well, that car chase ended just about how I was expecting it to end. Now here he is on an episode of Married with Children called Married with Aliens. Now there are a few aliens in this episode, but the two that have the job of taking Al's socks off of his feet, and talk about a dirty job, well, they are Felix and his old Buck Rogers co-star, Patty Maloney. Yeah, the gold robot. Felix went on to have a very long and successful career in Hollywood, and after he retired, he would spend his weekends traveling to Comic-Cons and fan conventions, and there he would sign autographs and do meet and greets, and most of the time he was teamed up with Gil Gerard, who played on Buck Rogers with him. And the two of them are in clips all over YouTube, and people did interviews with him, and I watched a ton of these, and that's where I found all these hidden gems, because all this stuff isn't really listed on IMDb. I listened to a lot of interviews with the actual people I'm doing a video on, and they say something, and you go, wait a second, no one else ever mentioned that, and you go and you dig up the footage, and you go, wow, no one even knows that. And so that's how I put my videos together. It's fun for me, and I hope it is for you too. His son, Michael Silla, did pass away at the age of 46, and this devastated Felix. But he kept going, and he said he had a great life. Now, Felix did pass away himself on April 16th, 2021. He was 84 years old. The cause of death was pancreatic cancer, and his buddy, Gil Gerard, was the one that broke the news on Facebook. Now I'm going to leave you with a clip from a YouTube channel called Weird Review. The video is called An Interview with Felix Silla. And in this, Felix in his own words will tell you what kind of life he had.
The union's been really good to me. It's, you know, they give you pretty decent pension, and that's what I live on. And I have a wife and 3 kids. I have 5 granddaughters. I'm very happy. And I'm very happy to be around my family, because if it wasn't for the family, I would not be here now.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit like and subscribe, but at least leave a comment down below. Let me know who to make a video on next. And if you haven't seen my video on Ted Cassidy that played Lurch, oh, you're missing out. Don't be scared to subscribe. Cool classics. I'll be back with more in the future.